And you're very welcome back to the Lads Podcast. I'm Daragh.
And I'm Steve.
As you can tell, things are very different. There's a pandemic. We just found out there recently. There's a pandemic going on. No. And this is our first virtual podcast. Me and Steve are in our respective homes, abiding by government guidelines, like we are good, respectable, law-abiding citizens.
No, we're not.
So
No, we're not. You're in the other room, man.
We're actually different room. I'm in the other room.
We're just pretending.
See, I was worried that this would be really extra crap, like way more crap than usual, because, you know, at the very least we saved... He's on the fucking cans.
I am on the fucking cans. I may as fucking
juice,
well, lad. The world is ending.
I'm saving my booze till fucking afterwards. Well, so, you know, 20-minute podcast, I need to get on the booze, lads. Lockdown.
You know what I thought, to be honest?
Yes.
I was like...
What?
Like, I've never been drunk on the Lads podcast.
Do you get drunk after a can? You do. That's one can.
Well, I had one can earlier, so now this is my second, so I might have 4, and then I might get drunk. I probably won't, to be honest, but wouldn't it be funny if I just was drunk?
That actually would be so funny.
It has to happen someday.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be so funny?
So, yeah, it would. You see, the thing is... With this podcast, you know, we save it by our, you know, in-person quick banter. So we hope it's not a really jarring viewing experience. But if it is, be sure to let us know. Anyway, Steve, what are we discussing this week?
We're discussing astrology and star signs and shit like that.
Yes, shit like that.
Shit like that. Shit. Which is something that I don't think either of us have ever had a mad interest in. Would that be fair?
Yes, it would, Steve.
Fuck's sake, I genuinely believed it. I was like, is that how bad the latency is? Do you know what I'm hating? Is I can fucking really hear...
Oh, I hate you.
I hate you too. I can hear myself in my headphones quite loudly.
Really?
Yeah, I have the monitor audio turned up very high so I can hear you. As in on Skype, but I can't fucking... yeah, we use Skype, it's 2007, but I can't fucking... but then it's making me hear myself extra loud. But that's kind of needed for recording purposes. Because I fucked up the audio last week, lads, and I'm not doing it again. So
yes,
it's safer this way to hear myself.
You did.
But you fucked up my camera. I was out of focus.
No, in fairness, that was the camera's fault.
Oh, that was the camera's fault, not the man operating it. And what about you forgetting
I wasn't operating, man. You saw, I wasn't there. I wasn't in that podcast. I showed up at the end.
Yeah, you weren't. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Look, that podcast was just cursed. And don't worry, look, we'll try and make this one extra special for all of you. But you know why it was cursed, Steve? Genuine question.
Why?
Because Mercury is in retrograde.
Oh!
Now, that's a meme. That's something I only have come across that on Twitter. Like, oh my god,
That's where I hear most of my astrology, though, is Twitter.
Twitter, yeah.
It is, unless I actually look into it, which I did this week, but, you know, usually I didn't. Go on anyway.
But you're not on Twitter either, so...
No, but I was. Anyway. Instagram, look, you know yourself.
It's all the one. The computer. I was on the computer.
I was on the computer on my pocket, you know.
Okay, so what we're going to do, I guess, is we're going to look into a very, very surface level, look at astrology and horoscopes.
Yes.
Yes.
Because... because it's it's much more in depth.
It's a massive discipline.
Than we both thought, huge. You know. We were both just like, Virgo means you're this, and Sagittarius means you're this, and all that. But
we're going to look into the meme that is Mercury in retrograde, what it means. We're also going to look into, I suppose, our birth charts. Yeah. It's not just your star sign, guys. There's way more. We're going to look into kind of why people are into it. Because I chatted to a few people and I looked into it myself. You know, why it's predominantly women. And this is a podcast that a lot of women reached out to us and was like, hey, this is a topic you're doing.
Yes.
They said that. So I suppose we'll kick things off with a bit of history. Steve, when was the moon invented?
So the moon was invented, guys, and a lot of people don't know this, but the moon was actually invented in 1969. It was at the end of the decade.
By Neil Armstrong.
By Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. So... they went to the moon, and then Bert Cooper died the day it happened, and Sterling Cooper, Draper Price fucking was still there, and that's the crack.
Yeah.
Comment on our website if you know what that reference was.
So back in the day, astrology was science, and this is like thousands of years ago. Like
no, it's pseudoscience.
Pseudoscience. Well done.
Pseudo.
But like astrology was apparently really good at predicting things like eclipses, right? And the ancient Babylonians now, they thought eclipses were they were clearing your throat. No, they thought they were bad
COVID?
Omens, right? I have COVID too, man.
That's COVID there, it says, huh?
Yeah, that was a COVID.
Man's got COVID. You can't be doing a podcast when you have COVID, boy.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, that's how you spread it.
I'm isolated because of COVID, like, and then you're spreading your fucking COVID into your mic,
Can I
which
get back
goes
to the
through the
podcast?
computer. No, you can't. Which
Excuse
goes
me.
to the computer, and
You,
then
look, drink your can and I'll do the podcast, all right? There we go, good boy. Anyway, but
I'm not
a fun
speaking,
thing
go
that
on.
the Babylonians used to do was they would hide their king when there was an upcoming eclipse, because they thought, that the gods were coming to kill them. They would appoint a fake king, and then they'd sacrifice him to please the gods, and then take out the king, and the king would be like, grand, survived, because I'm a Virgo,
What did you say?
Nothing, man.
Sorry,
Doesn't
go
matter.
on.
Go back to your can.
That's it. I'm pissed, like, of fucking Coors Light. This podcast is not sponsored by Coors Light.
Ancient Indians and Greeks were also, deadly good at, having a look at the old stars. They actually were the ones that discovered that the Earth revolves like a gyroscope. What's a gyroscope? Well, fuck if I know.
Revolves around the sun.
But that took a lot of precision, and it's a thing that happens over tens of thousands of years. So when we were on the way into the Age of Enlightenment, right, and when science became cool, because it wasn't really cool at that stage.
Really?
Yeah. Scientists were kind of like, hey, I think there's, telescopes started becoming invented. Telescopes ruined astrology. That's it. Just ended
Ruined
it.
it.
Cancelled it.
Oh,
It did,
serious?
yeah.
Okay, interesting.
It did, yeah. Now, like, scientists were kind of like, Actually,
would it not have heightened it though? Because now you can, like, talking briefly on Mercury being in retrograde. Now you can use a telescope to understand why the Mercury is like moving in the opposite direction.
No, the reason why is because astrology was originally based off the fact that the sun and the planets revolved around the Earth. So new science came in and was like, no, we revolve around the sun. And astrologers doubled down and ignored the science.
Really?
And yeah, and it was I genuinely Isaac Newton. He read a book, went off, did a load of maths, and was like, "Here, this astrology stuff is a load of balls." He actually, he read a book on astrology and was like,
Did
"I'm
a
going
load
to
of
prove
maths.
this wrong."
Did a lot of maths, like.
And then an apple fell on his head and caved his skull in.
Did it
That's actually what happened.
Did it?
It killed him. Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
Did it actually kill him?
Yeah, it did. It absolutely killed him, man. That's how he discovered gravity.
Oh, and then he died and was reborn.
He was
and that's how he discovered gravity. Fuck gravity.
Your man's pissed drunk.
Like,
I wanted to do a serious podcast. I put in serious research. I have all these lights set up in my room, and this man's just on the piss.
I'm not on the piss. I'm on my second can. That is not on the piss. I need to be on at least my fourth can with
to an
possibly
American
more
that's on the piss.
to be on the piss. Yeah, well, we're not in America, are we?
We're not in Kansas anymore. Do you have any cool history bits on astrology, boy?
No.
Or did you even do any research?
No, I did none.
Why would you? That's not cool.
Like
boy.
every week. No. No. To be honest with you, I didn't actually look too far into the history of it. Well, I did basics. I read the history part of the Wikipedia page, which you've kind of covered for me there. Like, to be honest with you. So
nice.
Yeah, I think that's enough to talk about, really, though, isn't it? With regards to that, rather than getting mad.
But that's it. That's kind of that's a grounding of where it kind of started. It's ancient. It's thousands upon thousands of years old, like BC. And
BC,
it was
like.
Yeah, we did that joke in a previous podcast.
Yeah, I know, but we're time travelers and we're going back taking it again.
Oh yeah, the Duck Do, and so this was way before the Duck Do, lads.
Lads, this predates the Duck Do, like.
It does, and it's not science anymore. It was for a couple of thousand years, and I think a lot of people, mainly men, are quick to write off astrology because it's not science. Fuck that, and then don't think about it anymore.
Yes,
but We'll look into it a little bit more because I did learn a lot, and I do find it very interesting. We're not here to debunk it, and we're not here to say we believe, we're hard astrologers now, but I think there's a lot of interesting stuff out of it.
Yeah,
have you heard of the Barnum Effect,
No.
The Barnum Effect in psychology, it's a phenomenon that occurs when individuals believe that personality descriptions apply specifically to them more so than other people, despite the fact that the description is actually filled with information that applies to everyone. That's the crack with horoscopes now.
That's how I always do when I was more cynical. Maybe 4 years ago, I used to say, they just say the same shit about everyone, and you just think, oh, that's me.
That's just, that's the holy grail for cynics. They're like, Barnum Effect, fuck you, and run away.
Yeah.
But again, when you look into it a bit more, there's a lot more.
No, there is, but let me just ask you, like, do you personally believe in it? Do you know what I mean?
It's too complex. Do you know what? It's too complex to give an answer to. I can just be like, it's not science, and then that's it. But it's so fascinating.
I know
that I want to believe.
It's weird. Yeah, I think we're on the same page. So
Mercury being in retrograde, put down the fucking can. Jesus, you've had enough.
I could drink the fucking can. I'm at home. See, I'm in my own house now, and he's not here to stop me having cans. Because every week,
usually I stop him, I take it off him, I down it, and I say, "This isn't for you."
Yeah, exactly.
And I drink them all.
So no, I will not put in the fucking can. I will drink the fucking can. Fuck you.
Kang.
I was like, I was literally like, please don't kill, please don't cop that.
What?
Fuck you. I said, please don't.
I'll just finish the podcast. You go to bed.
Cop that I said Kang with a G. Do you know why that's funny? Because when I was a young fella with Daragh in primary school, I used to say kin instead of king. Like King. I used to say kin.
You still don't pronounce your G's a lot.
I fucking do. Shut the fuck up.
No, I edit this podcast every single week. I listen to you.
That's if I'm Russian. But I know that it's singing, not sinning. And king, not kin. Yeah? But when I was like 8, I used to say kin and I used to say sinning. Like he's a sinner, not a singer. You know?
Look, if you've picked up on Steve's, speech thing, please comment on our web zone.
If you transcribe the podcast. But I thought it was, but you used to be, and this is funny early memory I have of you, used to correct that. Used to genuinely say, it's king. And I'd be like, I actually, at that age, I couldn't understand. I was like, what the fuck is he on about? Like, I was like, I'm saying it, like,
And I here 20 years later. So
no, but now you're correcting me on the opposite thing. Now you're saying it because you're
overcompensating.
I've overcompensated after everywhere. You fucking years ago, and you're still here, living inside my head, rent free. Fuck you.
Even
man.
when I'm long dead, I'll still be in there, rent free.
Yeah, he will.
Okay, so back on topic. Steve, what does Mercury in retrograde mean?
It means Mercury's a prick. It means Mercury is fucking moving in a different direction to Earth. The opposite. No, opposite direction to Earth.
So yeah, planets in the sky move from east to west around the sun, right? But Mercury basically left their face mask in the car and has to go back for it.
Oh, is that the crack?
This is nice modern joke. I do sketch comedy
with the Times. Yeah, level 5
/3me.com/Steve/the
lad Steve.
Web zone.
Sorry, I can't hear. I think you're breaking up there. I can't hear.
HTTPS.
1 second. Is your Wi-Fi gone? I can't hear you.
Good.
What?
I'll continue on.
Continue on there.
Shut up. Astrologers believe that when it happens, it affects life on Earth, especially within the realms of communication and technology. Because in astrology, Mercury governs communication, travel, and learning. So it's blamed for everything from miscommunications to technical bugs.
Okay.
Last week, our podcast had every type of technical bug you could have in a podcast. Why? Because Mercury is currently in retrograde.
But when did Mercury begin retrograde this year?
About a week, 2 weeks ago or something. It goes on for a few weeks. It's happening right now.
But I'd actually, can I look this up there? Because I want to see. It would be really funny if it was last week.
No, it was. I looked this up. That's why I said it.
Yeah, but then you just said, I don't know, a few weeks ago, so you clearly didn't fucking look it up properly, so I'm going to do it now. Oh,
yeah.
Daragh.
And Mercury struck last week, man. What?
Daragh, listen, I'd love to apologise to you there. I'm wrong. We've only done one since Mercury's been in retrograde.
I just fucking told you.
All right, relax. Fucking hell. So you're right. Yeah, I thought it was 2 weeks ago. Okay, that's why. So that means this one has to go bad as well, though.
Well, no, because the idea is you just have to kind of be aware of it. You're like, oh fuck, Mercury's in retrograde. Keep an eye on things. Watch out.
Right.
Look, actually, now there's probably a lot of listeners who are just maybe very skeptical or who have no interest in horoscopes. So I kind of I might jump ahead because I was going to talk about this later. And then what we'll do after this is maybe we'll talk about our own kind of star charts and star signs and stuff.
Yeah,
but
that's the fun part.
Why do people enjoy astrology? So I find there's two reasons from looking into this. One is kind of understanding life and yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I was chatting to a friend about this, and she really got in depth with myself, and she said like it's kind of similar to going to therapy. You can learn a lot about yourself from knowing your birth chart, your star chart, what's your rising, what's your moon, what's your sun. We'll come to that in a minute, guys, so in case you've no idea what you're on about. But it kind of does make sense because it's a hard. Let me go down the rabbit hole because I need to just be in creative flow for this to come out.
All right, fair enough. I'll let you chat.
So it comes from kind of like the second reason, which is the belief that everything in the universe is connected, right? Look at how the moon affects the planet, right? The moon affects the tides.
The tide, yeah.
And emergency rooms in hospitals are always at more capacity in full moon. It just does something to humans. It does something to animals. Animals go mad. It has an effect on humans. So why doesn't the rest of the universe, the stars, the planets, have effects on us? Because we're all just stars at the end of the day.
That's why it's so what's the word? See, if I wasn't drunk now, I'd know. That's why it's so.
When you're ready, I'll get back onto it.
That's why it's so probable, though. You know what I mean? Because as you said, like we all accept that. Yeah, the moon fucks with us a bit. So why shouldn't everything else to some degree?
Which is something. It's like, hey, yeah, I can get behind that. That makes sense. It does affect our moods and maybe just how our bodies work on a very, very deep level, levels that I don't have a fucking clue about. But another thing as well is, you see, we're kind of always looking for direct answers from the man-made world, news, TV, social media, everything around, even buildings and cars is all man-made. So I think nature, it's astrology kind of, a lot of people I believe are into it because it's the sky, it's the moon, the sun, the stars. It's nature, and it's just being in touch with that. And we were only a few weeks ago talking about space and the cosmos, and it's also fascinating. And so, with those kind of two reasons, you kind of come back to that first one, having your own meaning. So, if you are into astrology, you can assign certain traits to certain, like from all decided on, when you were born, where you were born, what time you were born, what time of year, all this information. And it lines you up with all these kind of specific traits. And, a lot of the times you can relate to, whatever you're assigned. But I watched a really good video today. I think the channel is Cut, if you're aware of the channel, any listeners. And what it did was an astrologer guessed 12 people's star signs by just having a very quick chat with them on camera, like having a look at them, looking at their ears, or show me your teeth, and just their mannerisms.
By
and
their
how they
physical
acted.
Appearance.
Yes, by their physical. Now, he didn't really go into that. He was just like, oh, yeah, Cancer's ears or something. And I was like, what? Cool, yeah. But he guessed like the majority right. And the reason why, there's always human error. And some traits bleed into others, and humans are naturally contradictory, in general. So, but he got so many right. And when he brought them back up, he was able to be like, just because this guy, he was like 70 or 80. He was old enough doing it all his life. So he knows astrology to the absolute T. And he was able to bring someone back up being like, oh, yeah, someone came back into your life 3 years ago, didn't they? And they're like, oh my God, how'd you know that? And it's not mind reading. It's just, if you know astrology and you're so up to date with it, you'd be like, okay, people who have this star sign were born at this time, were experiencing this kind of thing 3 years ago. So he's able to make and kind of a vague a general assumption, but that is applicable to that specific person. So it's a lot. It's a lot. It is mental. I think it's very interesting. So I think that's why a lot of people are into it. So I kind of wanted to just touch on that.
I think as well, though, as you said about the nature point, is because it reminds us all that we're, and like you also brought up about how we're just the man-made world and we're so obsessed with that, whereas people who are into this kind of thing are generally quite spiritual and mindful and stuff. So and that's why, because it reminds us that, like, you know, we're
just carbon
and our man-made world is so fucking tiny in comparison to the universe. Like, we're just, and it's also a gratitude thing, isn't it? It's like you're grateful to be a part of this whole fucking thing and to understand this. Like, the man-made world is only fucking small. You know what I mean?
And as well as that, it's kind of nearly a respect. And while it might be a debunked science, you know, but for so many, you know, centuries and millennia, you know, it was taken so seriously and so massively researched.
Yeah.
And, you know, the stuff that was come up with then is still applicable, you know, to modern astrology. But we'll come back to that. Sorry?
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, because astronomy then is different to astrology. Like,
astronomy is just, looking at the bits and bobs.
Is the scientific kind of stuff regarding this. Whereas this is the more, this stuff is very subjective, you see. It's very, it's you know, it's not just like fucking, that's why it's interesting though, in fairness.
We'll touch on that at the end, but I found that'd just be kind of important to put at this point in the podcast. Now, so Steve, tell us what a birth chart is. What's that?
Okay, so a birth chart is a more specific way of finding out. So we all know your star signs are based on the dates you were born. So like a Virgo is I think it's the 18th of August to the 22nd of September. Don't quote me on that. I just know I'm one because I'm born on the 6th of September. But the birth chart is where you can actually input the place you were born and the time you were born at, if you know that. And it just gives you a fucking insanely detailed fucking analysis or whatever of this, as opposed to just the general kind of one like you mentioned online, where the 12, if you're a Virgo, it's because or a Virgo
these are your
does this,
traits,
and a Capricorn
these are your
does
general
this.
traits.
Yeah, exactly. But this one is a lot more interesting. Anyway, sorry.
Would you? Yeah, no. Will you give a brief rundown? So, what comes up in a birth chart? What are the kind of main things you look at? Because I know that I looked into it myself, obviously, and there's loads. But what are the main things people kind of look for in a birth chart?
Yeah, so it's like your sun sign and your moon sign and your ascending, and it's fucking. To be honest with you, like I've literally, this is so new to me, so it's actually, I find it quite confusing, but
So yeah, like your sun that's the zodiac personality. That's your star sign, as you'd call it. Like, I'm a Sagittarius because that's when I was born. Your moon, okay, guys? So your moon is your emotions and your inner mood. So it's kind of your kind of personality. So then there's your rising, which is your social personality, and that's how you appear to other people. Because, you know, we all kind of put on a mask, or we act differently. And then you can keep looking into the planets. There's your Mercury, which represents communication, hence being in retrograde at the moment. It's going back to the car for the mask, remember?
Oh, sure.
And then you can keep going, your Venus and your Mars. You can look into all the planets and get really specific. But all that information is you input, basically, as Steve was saying, where you were born, when you were born, all this kind of stuff. And it gives you these traits. And I had to read through mine, and I was, you know, kind of going, yeah.
It's weird, isn't it? Because I've often looked at Virgo, the generic Virgo thing, and I've thought, that sounds about right. Some of it, but some of it is.
Sure,
but a lot of this I was reading is, a lot of it I actually do go, yeah, that sounds about right. You know, so it's very
exactly.
Or maybe it's just what I think.
So, Steve, we know your son is a Virgo, and can you give us a brief rundown of? So we'll do this. We'll kind of run through our for the people that are really into this, just for the people that are listening anyway. We'll give a run through kind of our birth charts and our bits and bobs, and see if you agree with. That's what Steve's definitely in that. You know. So,
I can read through mine, or I can read through. We can go section by section, so I can do my rising sign first and my sun first,
we'll do
whatever,
sun
and then
first,
go to you.
and then back to me, back to you, and we're gonna run through our birth charts. We're gonna give a little bit of rundown, see if you agree or disagree. I don't know.
Yeah.
We
go. They probably won't know, but you'll know me, and I know you, so we'll be able to.
I definitely know you from somewhere anyway. You're in those videos, aren't they?
So my Ductu sun is in 13 degrees Virgo.
Oh, cool.
Right?
Well, your sun, and just I have a little line for each one. So the sun represents vitality, a sense of individuality, and an outward shining creative energy. Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we agree with this.
Cool.
Extremely careful and cautious by nature.
Yeah.
You value neatness and order above all else. You rigorously practice very high standards of living and conduct.
Yeah.
And conduct, and you demand the same of everyone whom you come into contact.
Yeah.
At times you were so super critical that you were merely nitpicky. You were very good at practical skills, sorry. If I wasn't drunk I could read this right. You were very good at practical skills and quite handy with tools of all kinds.
Scaffolder.
Jesus, yes, so far this is all right. You were also greatly concerned with hygiene, cleanliness, and personal health.
Yup. If you know Steve, lads.
Very likely your health is much better than you think it is. Don't worry so much. Extremely methodical and analytical. You are a perfectionist. This makes you the perfect person to carry out highly detailed, precise operations. But at times, you pay so much attention to details that you lose sight of the larger issues. I have to say,
Jesus,
that I cannot disagree with anything there.
So that was Steve in a nutshell.
I know it's unapologetically so
scarily accurate, like everything about that.
And you see a lot of people who listen to this podcast won't know that. How would you? But you, as my best friend, know that it's literally
friend,
yeah. Friend who we're fucking stuck with.
I love you, boy. It's all right. Right.
Fuck off.
So my son, Sagittarius, we'll give this a read through. So this is from the same website. Very fun-loving, spirited, and energetic. You have a huge reservoir of physical energy within you that needs to be released. As such, exercise or sports are very important to you. Quite exercise. I do be gym. Quite gregarious. You enjoy being with other people, but you tend to avoid emotionally restrictive or intimate relationships. Constantly curious about the broader issues of life. You may at times be quite careless and sloppy about detail. You tend to. Thanks.
Yes.
you tend
constantly. What am I doing? Where's the future? Yeah, fucking come on. Relax.
You tend to leap to conclusions before the facts are in.
Yeah, Daragh, what do you think about doing this? No.
An avid reader, you are totally unenthusiastic. You are totally enthusiastic about any given subject. It should interest you. Yeah, should it interest you? That's true. I do. You are known for being idealistic, generous, sociable, cheerful, and very positive. Maybe not the last bit.
Not very positive, I will say that. I can't agree with very positive.
But a lot of that.
I used to always describe Daragh as negative to him, and he'd say, no, I'm realist, Steve. I'm not a pessimist, I'm a realist.
Yeah, I am.
Which I'd say now, but when we were younger, you were definitely on the pessimistic
fucking
side.
Miserable. So that's our suns. That's kind of our very general stuff. We'll move on to the moon. So your emotions and inner mood. So...
emotions and inner mood. The moon next, is it?
Yeah,
okay.
My moon is in Pisces. So what's yours in?
My moon is in 25 degrees Virgo. So it's still in fucking Virgo.
Oh, still in Virgo. Okay, interesting.
You tend to be serious-minded but cheerful for the most part. You need tasks that engage both your mind and your hands. Yes. A careful worker. You enjoy making things. Yeah. You are neat and orderly. Yeah. And are very concerned with good health habits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fastidious. What the fuck is that word? Fastidious.
Facetious.
No, facetious is spelled differently.
I don't know, man.
No, it's literally fastidi. No. F-A-S-T-I-D. It's like tedious with F-A-S before it. Tedious with fast before it.
I'd say facetious.
No, facetious.
Alright, boy. Get on with it.
Spelled. Alright, let's just say it's facetious. No, I'm not facetious. To the extreme, anyway. You can tolerate messes and will immediately clean them up. Reserved, shy, and very self-critical. You tend to be very hard on yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
You will usually go out of your way to be helpful.
That
and
is
useful to others.
Steve's personality in one line.
Practical, reliable, efficient, and conservative. At times you were a bit of a prude.
Yeah.
Am I? I don't know.
Maybe.
You were known to lead a simple, uncomplicated, frugal, methodical and unemotional lifestyle. You were devoted and caring to those who you love.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely.
Bar the unloveless fucking part of the life, that's Steve to a T. Yeah. So
the unemotional lifestyle, I suppose.
You're an emotional boy, but we'll talk about it in the morning. Very good.
Yeah. What's yours? What's your moon by?
My moon is
inner feelings.
Yeah, my moon is 13 degrees Pisces. So you have strong feelings and are extremely sensitive. No, I'm not. Well, I used to crack open another can.
Another can.
People listen to this in the morning, man.
Getting pissed.
It would help if you had thicker skin. Fuck you, website.
It's really getting you.
You tend to react emotionally to every situation you come across. I don't like this.
Not as much anymore. You're quite mature now. But
thanks, bye. Appreciate it.
Maybe deep down you do.
All right.
Get over. Go on.
Kind, gentle, and considerate of the feelings of others. You are good at taking. Shut up.
I'm only joking. Go on.
You were good at taking care of the sick, wounded, and helpless. I'm sure I do that the whole time. Just go into hospitals and start caring for people. You know, and they're like, "Hey, get out." But you tend to absorb the energy of others, so avoid those who are always negative. You have a rich, creative, and lively imagination. But you should be but you should be careful not to spend all your time daydreaming. Very intuitive. You have a good ESP, and you may be quite you may be quite clairvoyant or psychic. Cool. Remember that you too have the right to get what you want from life.
Fuck.
You were okay. Steve just left the call. Good man. Fucking plonker.
Sorry.
Well done,
Mercury
fucking plonker.
Mercury is in retrograde.
Mercury is in retrograde now, lads.
The last thing you said
heard
was
it here on the
you
lads
have a right
podcast. Where was? Sorry, let me open it back up. Okay, remember that you two have the right to get what you want from life. If you are always defensive and kowtowing to others, people will take advantage of you and exploit you. What you think, Bye?
No, for the most of it, I don't agree with that.
I would personally.
Would you?
Okay.
Oh no, there's a lot of things there. I probably like that last part.
I tend to absorb the energy of others. I'm like, so avoid. You have a rich, creative, and lively imagination.
To be honest with you, yeah, no. It's literally because of that blunder there. I panicked and kind of I forgot the first.
What's your What are you rising?
I'm a 0 degrees Capricorn rising.
Okay.
Would you like to hear about that?
No.
And see, do you? Okay, I'll just read it anyway and see if you agree. You are practical and reserved, but very ambitious. An achiever and a hard worker, you respect success. Okay. Older looking and very serious as a youth. Fucking hell, like.
Yeah.
Things lighten up and you relax more as you mature. Yeah, that is, even at 26, that's true so far.
Fuck, I forgot you're 26, man.
I know, but I've relaxed more than when I was younger.
Aye.
You have a very serious view of the world as being a difficult place to be in.
Yeah. Keep going. Say
Fucking
it.
hell, I am textbook to this shit.
I know.
Very envious of those who seem to have an easier life than you. Relaxation and play do not come easily. It is important that you had an abundant parental support as a child so that you do not feel lonely and isolated as an adult.
We'll talk about it in the morning, alright?
We'll talk about that in the morning. Generally, you have a good earthy sense of humour that you can carry through you when times get tough.
He's always just digging earth out of the ground and just roaring, laughing at it.
You were purposeful, self-willed, industrious, realistic and responsible.
Yeah.
Okay, before you tell me what you think, just
Okay.
hold that in your head because the camera's fucking disconnected again.
Oh, brilliant. Sorry to interrupt there, guys. You're going to have to, if you're watching the podcast, you're just going to be looking at me for the rest of the pod because Steve's camera has died. It's just not working.
I just threw it away. I just got
threw
so
it at the
sick of
wall.
it.
He got upset.
I was just like, Daragh normally does the camera stuff.
Yeah, so that's not working. Lads, Mercury's in retrograde, so
literally. I am full on getting
or
so
Steve
into
is just a
astrology
boomer and is bad with technology. Who knows which one?
This is not my fault. You were there. You saw this.
Okay.
You
it's my
saw
fault.
this. You're in the other room, man. You're in the other room over there.
I am. I'll just walk in and beat the shit out of you.
That was my rising, and I think you agree with that. Yeah.
Yes, I absolutely would.
Yeah.
What's your rising again?
Capricorn, but basically, I know we got interrupted there, but I know when I was reading it, you were like fully in agreement.
Your rising is how you appear to other people, again, just for context, guys. So what you just heard back there, that was Steve to the world, right? Now, myself to the world, what's my rising? My rising is Pisces, so I come across as a Pisces, allegedly. Very sensitive to your surroundings, and other people's feelings become your feelings. Try to avoid negative people because your tendency to empathize with them will make you negative also. An idealist, you must believe in something beyond your normal everyday existence. A dreamer, you like to escape to a world of your own creation. As such, you are known for the vividness of your imagination and should try to share your inner visions with others. If only I knew a way how. Very, very self-sacrifice by nature. Beware of others becoming overly dependent on you or vice versa. Allow yourself to live for yourself once in a while. You deserve it. Thanks, website. Don't be so envious of those who are more aggressive than you. Your gentle charity and true humility are indeed wonderful gifts.
The website's like a nice therapist, isn't it, sometimes?
It's just, when it's giving you a big hug, it's just like, oh, you're lovely.
Literally, it's great.
Steve's just always calling me a cunt.
It's because you call me a cunt. It's a vicious cycle, and we don't know where it started.
Speaking of which, right? Speaking of which, I looked up while we were recording our friendship compatibility. Virgo and Sagittarius. Yeah, because you know the way you can do it with you'd always be doing it with
I wonder, could you get it on our specific birth charts, and could you get that compatibility?
Oh, you could, but look, man, there's only so many hours in a day.
It's only it's the lads podcast.
A Virgo, this is Daragh and Steve, and let's see if you agree or not, or whatever. A Virgo and a Sagittarius form a well-balanced relationship. Sagittarius are gregarious and adventurous, and Virgos are studious, like mental exercise. Both partners, we're partners now, love to converse and discuss things with each other. That's all we do. We just
literally we can't stop fucking chatting. Hence we have a podcast.
Now my camera's shut off.
That's brilliant. This is great. Mercury is in fucking retrograde.
Lads, Mercury's in fucking retrograde. My camera just turned off. Anyway, sorry, where was I? Both partners love to converse and discuss. Yeah, me and Steve, a lot of the times, don't meet up to hang out. We just chat about stuff, but anything.
Literally, we're just able to literally talk. There's no such thing as a silence between the two of us.
I'll just kind of, breeze through it, kind of scan through it. Virgo and Sagittarius have different outlooks on life. Virgos are rational and careful, while Sagittarius are adventurous and like to discover new things. Virgos might not understand the enthusiasm of Sagittarius, and Sagittarius might not understand Virgo's logical mind. Or you're an earth sign, I'm a fire sign. I look for excitement and independence, and you look for stability and security. Yeah.
Do you know what's funny? This is interesting because I was speaking to a person recently.
Really?
Other than you.
Speak to people.
So are we both audio now, by the way? Is the video medium
No,
gone?
my video is back.
Oh, shit. Okay. Anyway, well, that's good. We get to see some reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So this person was telling me that this person is really into astrology, so into it, and they are actually a Virgo as well.
Right,
and they were talking to me about the compatibility they have with other star signs, and they were like, yeah, with Sagittarius. This is actually, I didn't even know you were a Sagittarius at this point, by the way. Do you know what I mean? And she was saying, yeah, it's interesting how I'm really compatible with Sagittarius's, and they were like, I've noticed with all my previous partners, they've all been Sagittarius's.
Right.
But Sagittarius's aren't actually good for me, but I always just am attracted to them in my current state.
Are you just attracted to be so by?
Well, no, this is just their personal thing that they tend to go for Sagittarius's, but it's actually not a good relationship with this person. But obviously this person is so deeply into astrology, they're not surface level, so they're like much more to the specifics of their whole shebang.
And is this person... Sorry, do you have another point to make?
No, I was just going to say it's funny how they were saying Virgos and Sagittarius generally are very compatible, and then I thought about that. I went And I think I actually went home after this and I looked up what star sign you were. I was like, put in your birthday.
Did you Google what star sign is Daragh?
I put up what star sign is 3B from the Lads podcast. And it said he doesn't fucking have one. But it said Sagittarius. And I went, oh shit. This is it now, me and Daragh bye forever.
You already you signed the contract when we were 4.
Yeah. But it's not always the way, because that person who knows that they're usually a compatible star sign was like, oh yeah, but I always go for Sagittariuses in relationships, but they're never good for me.
Oh, it's okay, like, boy. We don't have to be in a relationship, okay?
Yeah, look, we're not. I suppose if we weren't now, we wouldn't. Anyway, go
on. Now, was this person, Steve, a woman?
It was a woman, actually. Yes.
Now, and why do women lead towards astrology more than men? This is a kind of. It's not a meme. I think it's a fact, and it actually is, because
I think it's statistically probably a fact.
It is. There's a few reasons I came across. The first and kind of more basic surface level one is marketing. Horoscopes are put in women's magazines, Elle and Cosmopolitan, and all this stuff. So, from an early age, and women are reading magazines, or their moms will read women's magazines. Maybe it's just in a more female culture. Now, according to polls and scientific research, women tend to believe more in unproven things and the supernatural than men. And a 2009 Gallup poll showed women are twice as likely to see a fortune teller or a psychic, and they also tend to be quite religious. Now, if you want to really dig deeper into it, and again, we're only, this is the surface level podcast.
This is the surface level podcast. That is bang on, like, unfortunately.
Thank you. It's the side effect of a male-dominated society. So Dr. Phil Zuckerman, an author and sociologist, writes in Psychology Today that men tend to, globally dominate roles associated with power and privilege. And women have historically accepted the psychological comfort and institutional support of religion. Now, that's a quote. I don't go around saying that on the street. Here, do you know that women...
lads, he does. He literally... He has the end is nigh, like, fucking...
And on the back it says, women want psychological comfort and institutional support for religion.
It's crazy. Like. He does this in Carrigaline. Not even Cork City, Carrigaline, like.
Well, it has to be in Cork City now because of the 5k radius.
You don't even live in Carrigaline anymore. What am I on about?
That's it. There's a theory as well that men are too egotistical to believe in astrology. And as a man, fucking agree. Because we're pure a case of, that's not real, boy, it's not science, go away. And we don't give it a second thought.
In general, yeah, but look, we're really generalising here, by the way.
I know, but we can say as men,
male and female. No, we can, yeah, but like, I don't think you and I are like that, but definitely, maybe we are subconsciously, man.
I'm speaking generally as a guy, as in from primary school when the discussions about horoscopes was from the earliest memories of your kind of outlook on the whole thing. Is like I would agree with that statement.
I do, but I'm just highlighting that. Yeah, this is quite general too. Like, just if you're a guy who's into this,
again, statistically, women, again, this is kind of statistically I've pulled out of various articles and whatnot. Women are more interested in working on themselves, and men think they already know what they're doing, which sounds about right. You need to kind of tell a man that, like, hey, the way you're looking at that is, or even, hey, the way you're looking at yourself, and then you could even start bringing in toxic masculinity. Men think they know everything. Men are smart and powerful. Bang the fucking drum, be loud. Yeah,
literally.
And hairy.
And women are generally more self-reflective, I think, and more up for improving themselves and stuff, and more self-aware, I think, to be honest.
Yes, more open to expanding perspectives and stuff.
Whereas men, and again, this is really general stuff.
It is general. It is.
I think things are shifting though in the recent years. I think men are becoming less. As the mental health discussion and toxic masculinity, that has become more prevalent.
Men are becoming a little bit more self-aware.
If we're to speak very generally, though, I totally agree with you. Like 10 years ago, then I wouldn't even say, to speak generally. It would just be like, men are, you know what I mean? You wouldn't even think of that. Like,
again, this is the surface level podcast, but from looking into it, I would agree with these. These are different statements from different people that have bigger brains than I. They got the big brain disease.
It's an awful disease, actually, isn't it?
It's a terrible man. My head is so heavy. That's why I lost the hair, because the brain is pushed all the hair out.
Yeah. And think about the lad who has the bigger brain than you. Like, he doesn't even have a scalp. Like,
it's just brain,
let alone hair.
So yeah, and women, as far women generally are more into those. Yeah, that's I've made the point. I think that's very interesting, and from the people who wrote into our Instagram page, just look up the Lads Podcast on Instagram. It was majority women. They were women telling us to look up our birth charts, and some women more into it than others. I noticed there was a trend. Some girls just saying that it's just a bit of fun. It's not, and it's just something to kind of jump into, maybe, and to look for patterns and trends and go, yeah, that is true. Oh, I do believe in that. And I think men are just a little bit more flippant about it. It's like, nah, it's bollocks, go away. It's not science. I don't want that.
Totally agree, man. No, it's
my opinion. You can disagree with me if you like. You can fight Steve about it, not me. I'm not. You've read my horoscope. I'm a sensitive boy. I don't be doing fighting, but Steve will fight you.
Want. Yeah, I'll fight you. No bother.
Yeah, so that's the crack.
This was a bit of a learning podcast for the two of us, which is why I enjoyed it.
Yeah, because the last two were just bollocks.
Oh, they were great.
They were
bollocks. But this is a bit of a kind of delving into something we're generally not that into, but is quite all over our social media and our friend circles. Like we see it a lot, but we both have never really
understood it.
Taken the time out, not even understood, but just bothered to take the time out and really research it. I've just never been. I've just been like, look, I don't really care about it enough. So it was interesting, but like I have to say, even though we only read out a small bit of our birth charts, like there's a lot more to that. But obviously, we don't want to fucking make this an hour and a half podcast on ourselves like that. Well,
sure.
That's what it is. But it was very fun, and I definitely feel like I have much more of an open mind to this sort of stuff.
I have more of an appreciation for astrology now that I looked into it, and I guess look, you can say that with anything if you look into something a bit more. I think what I came away with after all is it's a little bit of an answer to existentialism. Oh God, the world is just random chaos. We're gonna just live and die. But it's kind of looking a little bit more.
There's purpose to you.
Finding a little bit more meaning via the stars, and there's something a little bit magical about it, and it's nice. You don't have to take it that seriously, or if you do, go for it. Just don't be shit. Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Don't be shit, lads.
If you want, we'll wrap it up here because I want to go drinking now.
Dara's been looking at me drink for the last hour and like,
Steve's just gonna go sick and pass out in his bed now.
No, I'm gonna go down to the back house and start working on it.
Nice. If you're enjoying what we're doing, guys, patreon.com/the Lads Podcast. Please consider maybe supporting us if you have a spare coin or two. If you don't, no bother. Just maybe give our posts a like. It helps us with the algorithm. Helps us grow.
Send us a few severed fingers in the post instead. There's something, lads. Just
anything, like.
Just give back,
guys, we're all in lockdown. We're all in this together. That goes without saying. But this is more of an escapist podcast. We're not really going to talk about the nitty gritty misery because we all have to live through it. But once a week, let's take the time to talk about something else. So look, if you have any suggestions for what you'd like to hear from us, go to our web zone or the Lads Podcast Instagram. Fire us a DM. Maybe send Steve a severed finger. But until then, we'll see you next week. We'll
see you next week, and my camera won't fucking die next week. I promise.
You might see him next week. You
might see me next week. Hopefully, you'll see me as well. See you later.
See you later.